Hello my gorgeous people, it's your girl Abigail here, and I'm back with this gorgeous short bob look, and I'm going to show you how I created this from the beginning to the end. Let's do this. So jumping right into this video, I measured my head off camera, so now I'm just placing the measurements onto the mannequin head with the tape, and make sure you do it in inches, it's always a lot easier. So I measured the circumference, the front to nape, the ear to ear across forehead, ear to ear over the top of my head, temple to temple around the back, and nape of neck. So just in case that sounds a little confusing, I've attached a quick measuring guide to help you out. After taking the measurements, as you can see, I used this dome cap with holes in it because it's breathable, unlike the dome cap with no holes in it, and I pin it against the marks that I've made from my measurements. So the hair I'm going to be using is from Glamour Hair London. I've got 2 bundles and a lace frontal. This hair did me so well, which you're going to see throughout the video. So now to begin the wig, I start off by folding the lace frontal in half and placing a pin right in the middle of the bottom and top of the lace frontal to help me gauge where to place the lace frontal onto the cap. So what I do now is place the pin in front of the lace frontal about 1 inch to 2 inches in front of the wig cap. This is so it helps it sit better on your head when you take it off later. And I place the second T-pin towards the middle of the wig. Next, I make sure the back of the lace frontal is completely flat, and I pin down the 2 sides onto where I marked the ear to ear across the forehead and across the top of the head. Lastly, I pinned down the 2 sides of the front of the lace frontal towards the temple that we measured and marked. Finally, moving on from the boring part, we're going to stitch down the lace frontal, and we're going to do this by stitching across the back, making sure it's nice and flat. So for all you lazy ladies out there, I'm joking, but for all you ladies who do not have any time or cannot be bothered to make your own wig yourself, stitching on those bundles can be quite jarring, but this is definitely the best method for you. It's a quick wig and it's definitely beginners friendly. All I'm doing is cutting and pasting, literally. So what I do is measure the track, cut it, and then we stick it down. It's not rocket science, anyone can do it, I promise. Now to cut the asymmetrical bob, I use a measuring tape to gauge the length of the shortest part of the bob. And then I use an electric razor to cut, starting from the short end and working my way towards the longest side. I then add in a few quick layers, then move on to the colouring. For colouring, I mixed the bleach powder and 30% volume developer to create a brown balayage look. I didn't leave the bleach in for long as I just wanted it brown. After washing all of that off, I went over a few strands to create some lighter highlights. Lastly, I move on to plucking the lace frontal, which I do by holding down the front of the hairline of the frontal and just plucking randomly just to achieve a natural, less thick density. I like to pluck the frontal while it's wet because the strands come out a lot easier. However, I also pluck it once it's dry, as you can see the real state of the density. Moving on to styling, I use my straighteners to give it some lovely bouncy curls. And then I set the lace using some mousse and the wand, and then I cut the lace ready for fitting. So just before I set the frontal, I have to customize the hairline to suit mine. I do this by cutting the lace to mimic the shape of my hairline. So last but not least, I set my wig using the Got to Be Glued spray and hairdryer, and I hold it down, and I basically do this around my hairline, and I set it using some mousse, then wipe the excess residue off my skin, comb my curls out, and here's the final result. I won't pay me pay, I won't pay. Don't you dance you baby? If you never go, don't you? Softly roll it, baby. Me say, dance it for me. Roll it for me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wine it for me. Baby girl, you give me love.